All right, friends, it's time to give you loyal listeners a discount on protein powder. You may or may not know, but I launched my very first protein powder 2 years ago. It's a grass-fed beef isolate with only 3 ingredients: grass-fed beef, either organic cacao or organic vanilla, and organic monk fruit. Now, if you don't want any of the added flavor and sweeteners, you can also just get unflavored. And no matter what flavor you choose, you're getting over 23 grams of protein per scoop, which is going to keep you full and satisfied between meals. I love starting my day with a Fab4 smoothie and breaking my fast with that much protein. It makes a serious difference in my cravings and blood sugar balance the rest of the day, and I've seen it with my clients as well. Now, I never thought I'd own a product company, but when I got pregnant with Sebastian, I realized the majority of protein powders were chemically extracted or enzymatically extracted, and I wanted to use heat and water only. I wanted minimal ingredients because we don't need those emulsifiers, fillers, or added vitamins, minerals, and probiotics. All of those additions increase the chances that it's not going to work for your body, whether it be bloating, digestion issues. I just wanted pure, clean protein to keep you full and satisfied so you could build the most delicious Fab4 smoothie. And I have to say, I'm pretty proud of the flavor. If you take a look at our reviews on Amazon, you'll see 5-star reviews for flavor. And that is key, because if you don't love your Fab4 smoothie and you don't love drinking your protein powder, you're not going to do it. It won't become a habit, and it's consistency that outpaces everything. So if you're here and you're listening and you want to give our protein powder a try, use the code podcast5 for $5 off your order. And let me know if you love it. My favorite ways to apply this protein powder is in my Fab4 smoothie, making freezer fudge, making chocolate milk, making hot chocolate, and throwing the unflavored into all my kids' baked goods. So let me know how you use it. Let me know if you love it, and share this podcast deal with your friends. Hey friends, welcome back to the show. I just wanted to let you guys know we have a really exciting sale happening Independence Day weekend. It will be from July 1st to the 6th. The Fab4 Fundamentals course is being slashed to $197. And it also includes 5 Zoom hours with yours truly. So not only are you getting the 15 videos, the 40-page downloadable PDF toolkit, but all throughout July, we are going to have our coffee together and talk all about health through Zoom. So you can ask any personal questions you have, and we can get to know each other a little bit better. So these bonus Zoom hours are only going to happen throughout the rest of 2020. If you're interested, I would join us. Here's a little testimonial from the course. Easily the best thing I've spent money on in a while, and the extra time with you is invaluable. You make everything so clear. Your biggest problem is now turning us all away as clients. Thanks, Lauren. I appreciate that review. It's been so much fun to get to know you. And I'm really just loving the extra time answering each of your personal questions. So if you guys are interested in joining class 2, it starts on July 8th. You have to get in and purchase the course before the end of the day on July 6th. So get in there, join us, and I can't wait to meet you. So without further ado, let's get to the show. Today's guest is Megan Roup. She's a celebrity trainer and the founder of the Sculpt Society. It's a dance, cardio, and sculpting workout that's available online and through an app. There are new workouts every week ranging from 5 to 50 minutes. But today, I'm bringing Megan on to tell her story and to get you motivated to work out during quarantine. So Megan, welcome to the show.
Hi, Kelly. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we tried to record this last week, but I think everyone's working from home and the internet's broken. So it's good.
I know.
It's good to hear you today.
I know. We're crystal clear. So that's first step is good.
I know. So I'm really curious how you fell in love with movement and how you got started.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Well, movement for me happened pretty early on. My mom enrolled me in ballet when I was, I think, 6 or 7. And, I haven't stopped moving since. But I really started my, movement journey with classical ballet. That was really my foundation, and really just fell in love with it, and really danced my way until college. And went from anything from ballet to high school dance team, where I was on the high school dance team, doing hip hop and jazz and all of these fun, different new modalities for me. And then in college was at NYU's Tisch dance program, which was very much a conservatory where it was ballet and modern and very serious, what they call concert dance. And then professionally found most success really more in commercial dance. So I did a little bit of theater, a little bit of company work. And then I was with the NBA with the Brooklynettes on their dance team for 2 years.
Oh, wow. So did you know that you wanted to make it a career? Did you feel it in your bones at such a young age, or what, like, was it always crystal clear?
No, absolutely not crystal clear at all. So it's funny that you asked that. No, it was absolutely my passion, but I think growing up, I didn't really see, and maybe it was just a situation where I wasn't exposed to a lot of modalities or other careers outside of a dance, like a company, like a professional ballet dancer. So I didn't really see this other world that existed in theater, with the MBA and these other career paths that you could take with dance. And so I was really confused. In high school, I definitely was academic and really poured myself into academics. And I think when it came time to figure out what I wanted to do, dance just didn't seem like the option. And I just didn't see any other way to have a dance career and make a life or have the lifestyle that I wanted. So I actually, to kind of backtrack, my freshman year, I'm originally from California, and I went to a state school for the first year at Cal Poly. And in my mind had, decided to not pursue dance and to give that up. And it was a really big eye opener for me. I think it was the first time in my life. It was probably the darkest time in my life. And I really couldn't figure out for the life of me why I wasn't happy, why, I'd gotten into this great school. I was excelling academically. I had made friends my first year of college. I had a great group of girlfriends. But it was a pretty dark year, and it really took me the full year to understand that I was unhappy because I wasn't dancing. And unfortunately, that turned into, obsessing over food and body image. And I think for that first year in college, I was very consumed with that. And as I learned, that obsession and that, being consumed by that was really my way subconsciously of numbing my true feelings, which was, hey, over here, I'm really sad that I'm not dancing anymore and I'm not actually pursuing what I want to do in life. And instead, let's numb those feelings and let's distract you by obsessing over your body and food. So it unfortunately manifested into that. And it took me that full year and a help of a therapist to understand that, I hadn't listened to myself. And if I had, I think those obsessions wouldn't have turned into what they were.
It's so amazing that just like hearing you say that if you had followed your passion, you wouldn't have controlled in the space of your body and food. And I see that with so many clients, just whether it's like not following their passion with their career or in a relationship, or, we're really like taking a minute to listen to who they are and what they need. And we just try to, when we feel sad or out of control, to really control something that we can control. And I feel like food can be the easiest for people to try and obsess over, or like over control. And that pressure then just is depressing, whereas sometimes I'm working with a client and I'm like, this isn't about the food. Like we can write down what we're eating all day long and we can plan and meal prep and everything. But like this is about the fact that you drive 45 minutes both ways and you don't get to work out in the morning and you don't see your kids and you really don't like that job, but what you want to be doing, you're too scared to do. And so it's this life is going to continue where you obsess about food because you're not making space to do this other thing. I know it's scary, but the food will fix itself when we do what we love, right?
Absolutely. And I think I just didn't realize that was coming from just those unhappy feelings. And I think it was just what you had said. It was easy for me to just start obsessing, which I had never had any body image issues or food issues. And up until that year, it sort of just came out of nowhere. And I think it was because at the time it was the only thing I knew I could control. And it was really shameful. And I didn't talk to really anyone about it. And I think I was actually recording a podcast earlier a few weeks ago, and we were talking about it. At the time, I feel like I was yo-yo dieting and I was binging. And I think nowadays we can freely talk about what binge eating is and how we are numbing ourselves with food and consuming way more than we actually need. But at the time, the word binge eating was just not discussed, and it really wasn't. There was no label for it. So I felt very alone. I felt very shameful. And the fact that I'm just sitting here talking about it now just blows my mind. But I do think what the beauty of this situation that came out of it for me was, I know what it feels like to be uncomfortable in my own body and my own skin. So when I am talking with clients, I can connect with them, and I don't think it doesn't matter what the weight was or how much I had gained that freshman year. It was what that feeling feels like when you are uncomfortable in your body, and how you can relate to when I am talking with clients. I think that's really meaningful because I don't know that a lot of people, I think they see me and they're like, oh, you've been thin your entire life. You don't know what this feels like. And it doesn't matter about what I gained or what that number is. I do act or uncomfortable in your own body.
I mean, even just from working with clients, so sometimes I walk into a client's home or the studio or wherever I am, and from the outside, I'm looking at the most beautiful figure I've ever seen, but it's in relation to where they've been before or where they are now. And it has so much to do with like things outside of the body. How are you feeding your body? How are you moving your body? How are you treating your body? And I truly think that's the definition of body love. It's not just like look in the mirror and say you love yourself. It's like, what are you doing? How are you showing up to show yourself that you love yourself? Because and I've said this a million times, whether you're a 2 or it's size 22, it's like the people who are doing the work feel the best.
Oh yeah. And I mean, let me tell you, the minute I changed the conversations I was having with myself internally was the minute things changed, right? Like, how are you treating yourself internally? What are the stories that you're telling yourself? What are the stories that you're believing about yourself? I think it's a woman thing. I really do believe that so many women, the way we speak to ourselves is just so negative. We would never talk to anyone that way, but our internal conversation and the stories that we tell ourselves, unfortunately, can drive such bad behavior.
Absolutely. So you worked with a therapist, you realized you were not in the best place. And what were the steps to kind of bring yourself back to your soul's center?
It took me a while. I came home my freshman year. I told my mom, I'm like, listen, I'm just so sick of spending so much of my mental capacity on this. Like, I was just sick of it. And so I went and saw a therapist. I really only saw the therapist, I think it was like 2 or 3 times. And I will say this, I really wish I had seen her, or seen someone. I needed more than that, right? She had, in those sessions, she had really broken it down to me that like, listen, you clearly are not following your passion. We need you to get you started to dance again. And so that I'm so thankful for that, because she really broke things down for me. And from there, I moved to LA for my sophomore year. I started taking dance classes again. And then I transferred to NYU. However, my behavior with my body and my mental, or my internal dialogue was still in a pretty negative space. And it wasn't until I read a book called Women, Food, and God by Janine Roth that things became clear. Again, I got into, it was like mid-20s, and I was like, I cannot think about food and my body for another second like this. Again, I just got to a point where I was just so sick of it. And so it took me a long time. I really had to work on myself, work on my internal dialogue, trust myself around food again. And and just strip things away. And it definitely took a while. And I wish I had done a little bit more work in therapy, because I think if I was working with someone, I don't think it would have dragged on as long as it did. But I can say now, years later, I'm in just such a healthy place with my body, with food. And I'm so grateful that I put in that work, because I feel like I'm on the other side of it. And again, thankful that I went through it, because I do think I can talk to women and relate to them if they are in that headspace of understanding and knowing what it feels like to be uncomfortable in your own body.
Yeah. How long did the sort of yo-yo dieting and negative conversations last for you? Because I think it can last a long time for women, especially like when you think about your early 20s. I feel like that's such a tough, like, first, like 6 years, 7 years for some people, even like the decade. It can be, there's so many unknowns, like starting your life, starting your career, finding your person. If you are looking for that person, like there's so many ups and downs.
So many ups and downs. And again, going back to like what we can control in our lives. And I think it's just, as women, a very easy thing to be able to think that we can control. So I think for me, it really lasted from like 18 to 24, 25, I think is when, I'd read the book, I'd started doing the work. And then, to be honest, the missing link for me, I had started to dance professionally, and then I had started to teach dance-based fitness. And I think the combination of working on myself in my internal dialogue, trusting myself around food, eating real food again, not eating crap, not dieting, and then starting to move my body in a really joyous way, which felt good and I felt strong. I think the combo of those two, by the time I hit 25, was the real turning point for me, for everything.
Wow. So you started your business when you were 25.
So I actually started teaching at a local studio when I was 25. Like most dancers in the city, I was trying to figure out how to support myself. New York is really expensive. And so I started side hustling in fitness and in fashion. So I had 3 jobs. I was working a ton. And I got into fitness again, kind of with the notion that like I can make money and I can stay in shape while I'm dancing professionally. And really quickly into that fitness journey, I mean, I'm talking weeks into starting to teach, I really like fell in love with it. At the time I had already been dancing professionally for a while, and it just wasn't filling me up anymore in the way that it used to. I felt like I had achieved things more than I thought I could in my dance career. And when I started teaching fitness, I just felt this overwhelming connection with the community and the women, and being able to see them day to day and see the impact I was having on them. And it was honestly at that moment that I saw such a longer career that I could have in fitness. And while dance will always, hold a special place in my heart, and I will always be a dancer, it just wasn't filling me up. And I saw such a bigger purpose within fitness. So I taught at a studio for 6.5 years, and then left almost 3.5 years ago to launch my own company, which is the Sculpt Society, and then launched the Sculpt Society app 6 months ago. So it's been a whirlwind, but the best decision I've ever made.
That's so amazing. I feel like motivating other people and giving that joy to them and like seeing it transform their lives is so much more motivating than just like doing it on your own.
Yeah. It's like you're part of this community. And I think again, sharing a piece of what brings me, I'm so joyful when I am doing the Sculpt Society. And I feel so in align with what my purpose is and what I'm supposed to be doing, and to be able to share that with other women so that they too can feel their best self, their most confident, empowered self in their own bodies, is literally the greatest gift I feel like I can give anyone.
Oh, that's so awesome. So what keeps you personally motivated to keep to keep moving? And what do you do to keep your clients motivated to come back day after day?
Yeah, I feel really lucky. The community around the Sculpt Society really keeps me motivated. So once COVID started, I immediately pivoted my business to fully digital, and I also live stream every day in my tiny New York City apartment on the app. And it's the people that are showing up. I'm seeing thousands of people tune into these live workouts, and I just feel a really big sense of responsibility to provide, fun, fresh content, so that the Sculpt Society community feels accountable and that they want to show up for themselves and the people around them that are also tuning in. And that to me is a really big motivating factor. What else keeps me motivated? I mean, I love I love a throwback cam, some good music keeps me motivated. And again, just going back to what makes me feel good. It to me, the Sculpt Society just feels really good in my body. And I think it's so important that we find ways of moving, whether it's a HIIT class, whether it's yoga, whether it's weightlifting, whether it's the Sculpt Society. Each of us really need to, just like it is with nutrition, figure out what works for you and your body and make sure that it feels freaking good.
Right. I think the happiness and the joy factor really is what makes it a lifestyle versus like dragging yourself to something that you don't love. I do find that the clients that love their workouts or just like really have fun during their workouts or have a community that makes it fun, I don't have to worry about consistency with them.
Exactly. If you're having fun in your workout, you're going to want to show up the next day. And I think what's been really fun during this time at home is seeing so many clients like Zoom a TSS Sculpt Society workout with friends. And you can see like a bunch of them doing one video together, which I love because, like it's one thing to do it on your own, but if you can bring people into your space digitally through a Zoom class or a FaceTime, I just think that's so fun.
Definitely. And I think when it's live or they can see, you can see your friend's face or your teacher's face or whatever, you're like, oh, I got to show up. And if they can see you back, even if you're in a poorly lit apartment with a child all over you, you're like, hey, I'm doing it. We're all just figuring it out.
I know. And so many videos of moms, like I really have to hand it to all of you moms out there. Like, trying to fit in a workout while you're at home with kids is really challenging. So, I love seeing I've had so many videos of moms doing the Sculpt Society and like their kids crawling over them while they're working out.
You just are a human jungle gym at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
I know COVID's a little different, but I'm sure your life, other than not being able to leave your house too often, hasn't really changed, probably like food and sleep and like lifestyle wise. Can you run me through a day in the life of you? What does it look like?
Yeah. Again, I think kind of finding a workout routine, finding a nutrition routine. Like I think at this point in my life, I figured out what works for me. So it hasn't totally changed. I generally wake up around 7:30, which again, to all you moms out there is like, you're sleeping in. But
do it now. Do it now.
I know both of my sisters have kids and they're like, oh, Megan, like, don't even say that. So anyway, so 7:30, I'll wake up. I'll get a big glass of room temperature water. I'll put half a lemon in, chug that down. I usually take a prebiotic or pre and probiotic. I'll make a French press coffee. I really try and meditate. On the Sculpt Society app, we have a bunch of short meditations. So it's usually like 5 or 6 minute quick meditation. Just to get grounded. Again, I'm still a work in progress. I still got to get out of my head. So meditation and then moving my body to really just give myself that moving meditation. So I then get ready for, my live stream. I usually live stream at 9:30 Eastern every morning on the app. So I'll get ready for that. I will do that. And then after every live, I sit and I have a coffee chat with the TSS community. And what's really, I think, special is will be live. I'll have my coffee, and then, the community can write in questions, and I sit there and we have this conversation, and I can't see them, but it's really fun. And it's a way for all of us to get to know each other. And it's really nice because it is direct feedback, right? So I can know what videos they like and they don't like. And then throughout the rest of my day, I'm usually scrambling to get ready for an Instagram live. I really try and take time if I am eating or snacking on something and I'm definitely not always perfect with this, but concentrate on the food while I'm eating it. There's try not have phones around or computers around. And I'm really just eating simply real food. So I love eggs. I love Ezekiel bread, avocado, grilled vegetables. So it's something of that nature. And then my afternoons, I'm really putting on my business hat on, and I'm answering a lot of emails and working with my brand partnership manager on upcoming projects, and then creating content, right? So the content creation takes up a big part of my day. Coming up with new content for the app, for my live streams, putting my music together. I have to tap out each song to make sure that beats per minute are on, because the Sculpt Society is a beat-based method. So there's just a ton that goes into it. And I don't think people realize that, just like the back end of what it looks like to create content. And
they just think you show up and dance. They're like, she's making it up. You're like, no, I counted beats for like 2 hours yesterday.
Yeah. No, it's a lot. And I'm a small team, right? I don't have, it's really just me. And so I'm really just trying to navigate the business side of my business right now. And of course, I'm just feel like I'm learning so much throughout this entire process.
Yeah, definitely. Did you have a physical space in NYC before COVID?
So, I feel really lucky. When I did launch the Sculpt Society, there was this birth of this concept of incubator spaces in New York City. So I taught the Sculpt Society at 2 different studios that were incubators, which really meant that the studio held space for different trainers who were building their own brands to come in and teach their classes and build their communities. So again, feel really lucky that I didn't have to go the brick and mortar route and deal with rent and all the things that go into managing a studio, and really was able to focus creatively on the Sculpt Society and working with my trainers and being able to teach at those 2 spaces.
Yeah. Sort of like we work for dance studios or workouts.
Totally.
That's amazing.
Yeah, exactly.
It's really nice to run your business in a lean way. It's kind of how I've run my business for 8 years. People are like, how many people do you have on your team? And I'm like, well, I just have one person right now. And she's new as of like 2 years ago. So I
love hearing that. That's great.
When you really want to make your passion a career, I think it takes hustle. It takes you doing the hard work that's not fun. Like, editing your own articles and like doing your own billing and getting in the back end of things. It's good. It's good.
Listen, I'm like an editor now, a videographer editor. I'm editing all of my video content. I feel like I'm also a DJ, right? Like coming up with so many playlists. There's just so much work that goes into it. And like you said, it really takes hustle, and you have to be in it, in order to allow it to grow.
Definitely. So your day, you're creating content, and then what is your evening routine look like? You're newly engaged, or have you been?
I'm new. Yeah, I'm newly engaged. We got engaged over December. So, my fiance and I have lived together for a while, but I do have to say, I'm not great at like when professional and personal life begins and stops. I'm often answering emails and creating content. Like we'll be watching, a TV show, and I'm like also editing a video. It's unfortunately doesn't really stop for me right now, just because I am a small business and I'm.
You're in those hustle years. You're on your way. You're on your growth trajectory. I think it's normal.
Yes, yes. So, luckily my fiance is pretty, used to that by now and he's okay with it. So, we do try and cook dinner at night. I think that's a nice way for us to unwind. So we'll cook dinner, a glass of wine, we'll hang, and then, usually, we'll watch like one episode of whatever show we're into at the moment. And then honestly, I really prioritize sleep. So, last night we were in bed at 9:30 reading our books. I probably read for an hour and then we call it.
Great. Phenomenal. There's
Yeah.
nothing like sleep. Such a,
Yeah, people underrate it. It's so important.
so important. It has such an influence on blood sugar balance, mood. Like really, if someone has body composition goals and they're not sleeping, it's just a cortisol nightmare. So,
Yes.
I love it. It shows your sleep and your movement and all of it. It shows. So what's next for your business and where are you thinking you'd like to go?
I think, right now I'm just, I think eventually we will all, life will go back to normal. It'll be interesting to watch how the fitness space does this though. I'm not sure that in real life classes will ever be the same. So, for me, I will always teach those in real life classes, but my goal, I think right now is really fostering and growing this TSS, digital community and allowing that to grow just because I truly feel I can reach so many more people and make a bigger impact, digitally with the Sculpt Society. So that's really my concentration. I would love to add a little nutrition element to the app. I feel like a lot of people are looking for guidance on that. So I feel like there's just ways I can grow and continue to make the online experience even better. I'm also growing as far as, I've started to make some merchandise. So I have some sweatshirts and t-shirts online, and I also have a bunch of equipment for sale. So just expanding on the equipment that we're using. I'm about to launch my own dumbbells and my own ankle and wrist weights. And, so yeah, I think I'd also really love to do like a national tour where I'm stopping in some of these cities that I haven't been before and can host, a bigger scale events once we're back to normal and have those, in real life connections with people that are working out with me, digitally on the app and meeting them in person, because I do think there is something so powerful about, meeting the people that in real life that are working out with me, at home.
Absolutely. They want that energetic connection with you that you only get in real life, which is, yeah, that'd be great. And I hope, this all gets back to normal so you're able to do that. I feel like for people who hadn't cultivated an at-home workout, like really, truly, like it's one thing to like leave your apartment or your house and go for a run or a walk or a hike or whatever, if you're able to do that. But, that class feeling, and whether it's HIIT or dance or yoga or whatever, to have the perfect, and I was definitely, someone who needed that perfect energy and the perfect song, and the perfect space. And like, that's how I got in my headspace. And I so miss it. And I really enjoyed those studio workouts, but this is the time where you're just like forced to show up and cultivate that at home practice. But what I've seen it do is it can create more consistency for people because it's more flexible and they can just get it done.
I couldn't agree more. It's so interesting to watch. I think, especially if you live in New York or LA, we're really spoiled in this bubble of great boutique fitness classes at our fingertips. But, and I know so many people that would never in their wildest dreams do an at-home workout. And I think we've all been forced to find that for ourselves. And I think what it's showing people is that, yes, you can get a kick-ass workout at home. It doesn't have to be hours long. It can be quick and efficient. And like you said, it can really create a consistent routine for us.
Definitely. So in your business and in your, with your clients, what do you think are some like habits that lead to the most successful transformations or the most successful, like almost like lifestyle building habits? Like what can you think of people specifically or examples that like you've seen in your business?
I think again, it's those clients, you have to find something that you enjoy. Do you truly enjoy the workout? And then the clients that can stick to the consistency. And I find for me, the clients, I have 3 different calendars, 3 different programs on the Sculpt Society app. And I find that the clients that follow a calendar, show up every day, they printed the calendar. There's something about putting pen to paper and checking that off or whatever. If you're doing it digitally, checking that off, that those are the clients that have the most success just in general, because I think consistency, meaning not meeting hours a day, meaning maybe it's just 20 minutes, but you're doing that over the course of, 4 to 6 days a week. And those are the clients that see the best results, I think.
Yeah. So what advice would you have for people that are just getting started? Shorter, more consistent workouts, or what do you think?
I think the best advice for someone who has absolutely no workout routine and literally does not work out is not to go into it. And I think, again, it's just like with food. It's not to go into it thinking you're going to be working out 6 days a week hard. I think if you have zero workout routine and like you really don't work out consistently at all, can you stay consistent for 2 to 3 days a week at 30 minutes? And if you can do that over the course of a month, then maybe you add on a day. And I think it's just starting out small. And again, that's going to sound really simple to people. And they're like, oh, of course you can do that. But I would actually really see if you can stick to that. Because again, if you can just stick with that consistency and build upon it, then you're going to build that routine and then it becomes second nature. Because I think a lot of times people go into a workout routine and they feel overwhelmed and they're like, they just can't stick to it, right? So if you can just stick to it and build into it so that you're not thinking every day, am I going to work out? No, it's just part of your routine. It's like brushing your teeth.
Right. Just building upon it. I think that I see that in my nutrition space too. I first start working with clients. They want to change their entire life overnight and they're never going to eat sugar again. They're never going to touch, they're never going to touch dairy. It's like they've made everything off limits. And I'm like, hold the phone. Can we get positive about this and do one good thing a day for a couple of weeks? And then let's build into lunch and then into dinner and then maybe into meal prepping and then maybe into like building out an Instacart. Like there are so many ways, but you feel this pressure of like, I'm not doing anything right. I need to change everything. And it can be just so overwhelming and really create like paralysis by analysis and then that negative self-talk we talked about earlier.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Well, how much do you think attitude affects their people's outcomes?
I mean, I think a lot. I think again, it's your attitude about exercise is maybe the internal conversation you're having about your body and about exercise. So I think I always ask people, especially if they're not dancers doing dance cardio or sculpting, like you're going to feel silly, you're going to feel ridiculous, but allow yourself to. Like allow a sense of freedom just to move your body to feel good. And at first it's going to feel a little silly, but the more that you do it, the more confident you get, you're going to allow even more freedom within the movement. So I kind of address attitude in general because I do see a lot of people showing up and they're like, well, I'm not a dancer and I'm not going to get it. Well, you may not. And I may be jumping up and you may be jumping down when you're off the beat, but who freaking cares? Just have fun with it and allow yourself to have fun and feel childlike and not be judging yourself while you are exercising because it doesn't need to be perfect.
Yeah. It's so beautiful about children. The judgment isn't there at a certain age. It's like they start to self-realize and then the judgment rolls in and then they start to edit their behaviors. But it's really beautiful when they don't judge themselves. And I really wish as adults we could just have a little bit of that.
Absolutely. And I think, I'm pretty cognizant of that, especially in my dance cardio classes. And I get silly and I get goofy in them. And I think, but it's to allow and give others the permission to do that too. Because I think we all want to feel that sense of freedom.
Absolutely. And I think for people who never grew up dancing, I think I danced until 5th or 6th grade. And then I had to choose between soccer and dance. And I liked my soccer friends a lot. So that's the direction I went. But but it, that makes a big difference for people walking in the room. And, whether it's online or not, like, do they feel comfortable moving their body and feeling ridiculous? And is it welcomed, which is important, because I think when you think about a New York dance studio, or like, I just picture music videos, like people in like the sweat leg things and like a headband, or like jeans and like a J-Lo, tube top, and I can't keep up, so.
No, totally. I mean, that's honestly what the impetus of what the Sculpt Society is about. I think when I launched it, I was so frustrated by the intimidation around dance-based fitness. And I felt like at every single studio, unless you had a dance background, you couldn't just come into the studio and get the movement. You had to have like been a dancer. And I was like, I just felt frustrated for people. And I realized it didn't need to be so complicated. Let's make it simple, the dance cardio, and repetitive, and then give you the kick-ass like sculpting moves for the workout. So I think really everything about the Sculpt Society is like making it a way of moving that feels good at any level, so that anyone can come and do these videos online or in the studio and walk out feeling successful and want to come back. Because who wants to walk into a studio, not be welcomed, and feel, like they can't get any of the choreography or any of the sculpting moves? Like, that doesn't sound fun to me. So I think, again, just let's not overcomplicate it. Let's make it simple. Let's make it fun. Let's make it empowering. And then, you see these women wanting to come back because they feel strong and good in their bodies.
That's so great. Well, I'm so excited for everyone listening to go check it out and give it a try if they're looking for an at-home workout, especially if they're looking for something really fun and inclusive. And
yes,
I'm just so thankful that you were able to share your story and get people motivated, because we're all looking for those at-home workouts right now, and we're all missing communities. So, I'm excited to bring the Sculpt Society to my community.
Thank you, Kelly. Yeah. And for anyone who wants to know, there is a 14-day free trial. So I would really highly suggest come in with an open mind and try it for 14 days. And I really guarantee you're going to love it.
I love it. Well, the last question on every podcast is, what does body love mean to you?
Oh, gosh. Body love to me is just loving my body as is in every stage of life, and knowing that it's going to change, and as we all do, and at every stage, just loving who we are.
I love it. Megan, where can people follow along?
Yes. You can find me on Instagram at Megan Roup. To access the 14-day trial, you can go to my website, which is thesculptsociety.com, and come over and say hi.
Cool. Well, it was so fun chatting with you, and
Thank you,
I'm
Kelly.
excited to get this up for people.
Thank you. So fun.
All right. Bye, babe.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Be Well by Kelly. Please subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Learn more at BeWellByKelly.com and follow me on Instagram at BeWellByKelly. I would love if you picked up my books, Body Love and Body Love Every Day. They're sold on Amazon and at all major booksellers.